How can I, 38 female, get my husband, 40 male, to parent my kid again after I stopped his punishment?
The kid's punishment or the husband's punishment?
Was the husband on timeout for this long?
Why do you have to punish your husband?
Not very clear at all.
You should be an adult.
All right. Let me first say my oldest son is in his last year of high school and is not the bio son of my husband. My husband and I have been married for 4 years now and have 2 other beautiful children together. My oldest son's father is not in the picture. My husband is dad in all respects to my son. All the above said is just to clarify our family dynamics. I do love my husband a lot as he cares for me and cares for all of our kids the same. I have never seen any favoritism of any kind towards one kid to another. 2 weeks ago, while my husband and I were on our way home on the highway, a car came speeding past us. Also, this says spreading, but I know what you're trying to say. Wild.
Spreading what?
Spreading past us. A car
some
came
guy in the
speeding
window
past
just
us.
spreading.
My husband asked me if that was our son because it was the exact same car that we bought him. My husband sped up and caught up to the car.
Spread up.
Oh, my bad. Now I'm thinking about spreading. I can't help myself. I think we were doing about 95 when we caught up. I don't know if that's kilometers or miles.
It's got to be
Remember,
miles.
if it's kilometers, that's pretty slow.
That's pretty
Yeah.
slow. Yeah, so it might be miles. Don't quote me on the speed, please. I really only remember my husband saying, "Why the fuck is he driving 90?" But I digress.
It's got to be miles per hour.
It was our son driving, and he was on his phone while speeding through traffic. I also think he was texting because we could clearly see him having both hands busy with his phone from the opposite lane.
What, going 90?
Oh my God.
I wanted my
Rice need to chill, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying, bro. I wanted my husband to honk at him, but he said no, as that might just cause issues and catch our son off guard, which could cause an accident at that speed.
Kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
When we got home, we parked right behind our son. My husband walked into the living room and just held out his hand and said, "Give me the keys." My son asked why, and my husband raised his voice saying, "Give me the fucking keys." When my son took the keys out of his pocket, my husband grabbed them and told him, "You are no longer allowed to drive that car," and he left the room. He looked at me and asked what was going on, and I told him we saw him on the highway, and his eyes got all big, and he struggled to say anything. About an hour later, I heard my husband yell from the kitchen, "I don't give a fuck about your job or school. You can walk or take a bike or get on the bus. I don't care. You will not be driving that car again." Apparently, my son went to him and apologized and asked for the keys back because he needed to get to work. A week later, my son came to me and asked for the keys because he needed to go to work and it was raining. He apologized to me and said it wouldn't happen again. So I relented and gave him the keys and he went off to work.
Not good.
Nah.
That's a conversation you have with your husband. That should
be a dual parent decision.
Yeah.
My husband came home and without saying hello, just asked where the car was. I told him that I gave the keys back to our son so that he could get to work. He used the same line on me, saying I told him, and you heard me, that he isn't allowed to drive anymore and that he could have taken the bike or bus or had just walked. I told him it was raining, so I gave him the keys.
It's called consequences. It's called consequences. Yeah.
Drive your kid if you really if you're really concerned about him. That kid is endangering people's lives.
Yes. And his own.
Yes.
I told him that he apologized and said it would never happen again. My husband cut me off and said an apology won't stop an accident or bring him back from the dead or bring other people back from the dead.
Yep.
And that he hasn't learned a thing yet. I told him I paid for half of that car, and it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. Ooh.
Mm.
And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. Ooh. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. And it was a gift from both of us to my son. To my son. and I will have say in what happens to it. He looked at me and said, all right, fine. All parental decisions will now fall to you. You are now the authority on that, so everything is now on you.
Yep.
Since then,
That's fair.
my husband hasn't done a single thing for my son or our other kids in regards to discipline. When they ask for something, he just says, well, go ask your mother.
Ask and you shall receive, baby girl.
Our kids are having free reign around him, and he just steps over every mess they make. And when I asked him why he didn't stop our younger from writing on the walls, he just shrugged and walked off. I tried to talk to him, and he said, you got what you asked for. No matter what I do, you seem to be the authority on any decision on our kids. So I just removed the middleman, and you can deal with them. Then he just walked off. What do I do? How can I get him to help parent our kids again? I'm at the end of my rope, and the kids aren't really listening to me like they do to him. And he is just allowing them to now do whatever they want. Edit. I messed up the title. I am exhausted and can't handle everything alone anymore. Sorry if my post is all over the place. I just need advice. If question needs to be asked, I will answer in the comments. Title meant to say our kids' punishment.
Yeah,
Don't be asking for a goddamn sympathy now. You explicitly wanted something, and you got what you asked for. You got to deal with it. And not a single damn time in this story that you wrote that you ever said sorry to your husband.
Yep.
I think your husband was doing something logical, and I don't even think it's a punishment at this point. It's a logical decision that they made. Like, hey, you're endangering yourself. You're endangering others on the road. You haven't learned a single lesson, and you went behind his back instead of being and I always say this, marriage is about partnership. And when you make decisions, a lot of times, I want to say 99% of the time, you should make those decisions together, especially giving keys to a reckless ass kid. If you're really concerned about them, when we were already saying this in the beginning, you take them to their work. You take them to class because you're so damn concerned about their safety instead of taking public transportation. You take them. But no, you hand them the keys. Chances are they're probably going to do the same shit because they haven't learned. So you got what you asked for, OP. Apologize to your husband first and foremost.
I agree 100%. I think this is a classic fuck around and find out situation. Like,
oh, yeah.
You have basically, even if your husband does go back to parenting, you've basically told your kids, it doesn't matter what he says. I'm the final say on any parenting decision. So it doesn't matter what he says anyway. That's what you've taught your son, essentially. I will also say this is one of those rare situations where the person coming into a marriage is not like, I'll parent my biological kids different. You said no. You said you want to parent the kids. You parent all of the kids equally. Yep. I'm not parenting any of them.
He blended the whole family.
And I respect the fuck out of that.
Yeah, that's a good ass point.
For that reason. So yeah, OB, like you should 100% apologize, like John said, and then work with him to parent going forward. He like deserves your respect as a partner and as a parent to be able to make rules that make sense like this one and back him up on that. So yeah, 100%. I was going to say you're the asshole, but wrong episode. But yeah, you fucked up, and I think you're getting what you deserve.
Yeah. Undermining a parent, like I wouldn't even say authority in this point. Like undermining just being a parent is such a fucked up thing to do.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't usually look through comments, but Riding Giraffe, being the goat that they are, highlighted some of the comments.
Okay.
So, I mean, just to read some of them, because my first thought was she did give the keys without asking, but also the way it was written sounds like maybe like he just took the keys without discussing with her. Like he just kind of stormed in and said, give me the keys, because that's kind of how it's written. Somebody said, oh, he made the first decision without you. And then you made a decision without him. So it's kind of equal. And then she wrote, no, I have to be fair to my husband. I did agree with the punishment of taking the car away from my son.
Oh, didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I didn't either. I thought
everybody was like,
anyway.
This person is getting goddamn roasted in the comments.
Yeah. Okay. So
everything they write is like, negative karma, like by the
Yeah.
hundreds, like negative 300.
That makes sense.
It's
That is
crazy.
a valid point. The husband technically made the first executive decision. However, that decision was kind of right though.
The decision was right,
but it was without.
he did together. The way
They
it
did
was
make it
written
together.
makes it
Oh,
yeah, the way it was written sounds like
it
the
was
husband just
did it on himself or with it by himself.
he just
Gotcha,
barged in and
gotcha.
took the keys. But she clarified and was like, actually, nah, like we had talked about it. I agreed. And then I just gave him the keys back anyways.
Even with the story, I did assume it was that way because of how she spoke to the son afterwards. Hey, we saw you. Like she didn't fight back on the punishment anyway. So I figured
true,
it was already talked about in the car or beforehand. So that's why I didn't assume that way. But it's good to get clarification on that.
Nah, she tried to get sympathy from Reddit, bro.
Yeah,
It ain't
yeah,
happening.
she did.
Damn negative karma points.
She getting fucking roasted.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, hopefully she learns. They can be better partners.
Hopefully
going
she
forward.
says sorry first.
Yes.
Yeah, apologies.
100%.
Maybe that's all he's waiting for because it still hasn't happened.
Yep.
Yeah. And maybe a discussion with her kids that, hey, you can't just come to me. It's got like respect your father's authority as well.
Get therapy.